Live on Kesme 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Fresh legal processes set in motion to compel President Akufo-Addo to sign anti-LGBTQ bill into law, as well as restrain recently assigned ministers of state from performing their roles. Also, as academic activities in pre-tertiary schools across the country remain at a standstill over strike by teachers, government is outdooring a policy to distribute laptops to senior high school students. Elsewhere, opposition candidate Bassirou Diomaye Faye takes an early lead in Senegal's general elections. We take you live to Dakar for the very latest. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, fresh legal processes have been set in motion to compel President Akufo-Addo to sign the anti-LGBTQ bill into law, and so that it also comes into force, as well as restrain recently assigned ministers of state from performing their roles. South Dine MP Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo, who is already in court over the ministerial reshuffle, is back seeking more. This brings to fore the number of pending cases, all connected to the bill one way or the other. First, a look at the new action seeking to compel the president to sign the bill or indicate his decision not to do so. Christian Yale is my colleague. He joins me in the studio with some more. Christian, first take us through this latest action by the MP for South Dine, Nelson Dafiamakpo.
All right, so Beatrice, so the case title as it stands is Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo versus the Attorney General and the Speaker of Parliament. Now, here are the reliefs that he is seeking in court. Declaration that Parliament complied with constitutional provisions of Ghana in the passage of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. Also, an order of mandamus directed at the Speaker of Parliament to present bill to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Again, he is seeking an order directed at the President to receive the bill, and lastly, an order directed at the President to either sign the bill or indicate his inability to do so within 7 days of receipt.
In the midst of this fresh case, there's also a development on a pending case.
Exactly, and this is still the same case, which is titled the Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo versus the Attorney General, and this case has already, been filed at the Supreme Court, and the court is now being asked to restrain the reshuffled ministers from performing their functions. So that is the development. So the court is now looking into that and looking at that relief being sought by the MP for the court to declare that the ministers be restrained from performing their duties.
Like I mentioned earlier, it brings the numbers of cases that are connected to this bill to 4.
Exactly.
Are you able to give us some flesh to these others?
Exactly. So, Beatrice, so as it stands, the pending cases following this new suit include: 1, the Dr. Amanda Odoi versus the Attorney General and Speaker of Parliament. That is 1. The second is Richard Delaskai versus Speaker of Parliament and Attorney General. Now, if you know, both suits challenge the constitutionality of the Human Sexual Rights Bill, the anti-LGBTQ bill. And now the third case is the Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo versus the Attorney General and the Speaker of Parliament. Now, this is a case on a judicial review action asking the High Court to compel President Akufo-Addo to obey the constitutional provisions as the Constitution, provides, or as enshrined in the Constitution. And then the last case is the Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo versus the Attorney General. Now, this is a suit at the Supreme Court that is challenging President Akufo-Addo's failure to submit the reshuffled ministers. So these are the 4 cases that are pending following the new suit filed by the South Dai MP.
Thank you very much, Christian Yale, for bringing us these legal details as they are launched at the court. Well, the Director of Legal Affairs for the NDC is looking at this in a different way. Edujit Tamaklo believes that the current impasse is a perfect opportunity for the Council of State to demonstrate its ability to resolve disputes.
Is it not a conduct of duplicity and hypocrisy that the president now referenced pending judicial processes to stop him from assenting to the law? Was it not the same president when he levied? I was the counsel for the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Mahama Ayariga, and Samuel Okujeto. The matter was pending, but the president went ahead and assented to the e-levy law. What principle is the president espousing?
Let's talk about the way forward. You said that calm heads need to prevail. There are those who make the argument that perhaps the Council of Elders now is a time where they can't intervene because we do not have ministers. One of such critical ministries is the health ministry, where there's no minister to start off with and any deputy designate at all filling up the position.
Does the president see the agency? Does the president see that there's an edge? Our president has checked out. He doesn't care about what happens. Look, as I speak to you, do you know that in the health sector, critical medicine for treatment of malaria, we don't have it? Do you know that? There's shortage. Meanwhile, we have about $45 million worth of this critical medicine at the ports. The president is not interested. These things don't tickle him any longer. He's checked out. Look, in the midst of this crisis, is it not strange that the Attorney General will be writing this kind of letters to the Speaker of Parliament? The accounts have a popular saying, there's crisis. You want to get out of the crisis. Do you put more petrol? You don't do that. But you have a situation where the Attorney General of the Republic rather see this opportunity for grandstanding to showcase arrogance. This is not what we need. See, in the superior wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, there is a reason why the Council of State is made up of elderly people, so that when we have some of these crises, they can intervene. I think this is the finest opportunity for them to demonstrate the capacity to resolve this raging issue between Parliament.
And you heard the Director of Legal Affairs for the opposition NDC, Edujit Tamaklo, speaking to us earlier. We stay on the NDC because I admit that I was wrong with my statement, especially because of how it was viewed. That running mate herself drew my attention to it. The words of a founding member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Kwesi Ahoy. The apology comes in hours after Mr. Ahoy was seen and heard saying that the NDC's running mate, Professor Jane Nano Pokwachiman, should prepare to become president because anything could happen should the party's leader John Mahama become president come 2025. The comment went viral, forcing Kwesi Ahoy to apologize. Listen to exactly what Mr. Ahoy said.
President at that time, but nature schemed things in such a way that President Mills had to give way to John Mahama. Anything can happen. So, Nana, be ever prepared, like your motto says. Be ready. Anything can happen, and you can become the president of the Republic of Ghana.
Kwesi Ahoy, a founding member of the NDC, as I just told you, the former Interior Minister has apologized for those comments. In a statement, he said, quote, "I sincerely regret the wrong impression that my comment has created. I concede that I misspoke on the occasion. I accept the criticisms in good faith, even though some of the criticisms arise out of a deliberate misrepresentation of my statement. I hereby render an unreserved and unqualified apology to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Professor Nana Jane Opokwajiman, the leadership and rank and file of the great NDC." So those were excerpts of that apology statement issued by Kwesi Ahoy shortly after the earlier statement went viral. I'm joined by Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustapha Gbande. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we seem to have lost Mustapha Gbande there, but he'll be joining us very shortly, giving his response to this very statement coming from the founding member of the NDC, Kwesi Ahoy. As I played the voice to you, he was urging the running mate to John Mahama to prepare herself to become president, because anything could happen should the former president be elected again during the December 7 general election, and that came with a lot of criticism. I read excerpts of his apology to you, saying that he regrets, saying that he believes his statement has been misinterpreted, and but still went ahead and apologized to the president and the leadership of the party. I'm joined by Mustapha Gbande, his Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
How does the party take this statement, first of all, and the subsequent apology from a founding member of the NDC, Kwesi Ahoy?
Thank you very much. I think that quite unfortunate. However, we believe that is not a pattern of his behavior. He is not a personality who is used to talking in that manner. If you know Honorable Kwesi Ahoy, is a very respectable personality in the NDC. And so we took it that it's a party event conversation that went bad, particularly when we believe that there's some element of excitement at that meeting. We also have received his apology and some sort of clarification to the issue, and we think that is enough. I mean, this is not the first time we've had either senior politicians or junior politicians overrunning the runway in terms of what they see and what they ought not to say. We have had even the president of the land saying something that is excess of what he ought to say. You remember Senior Minister Osaf Mapu in the things that he was said to have said in some meetings. He came out to apologize, and that was enough. In the same vein, we believe that Honorable Kwesi Ahoy is not different. He's a party functionary, well-respected elder person of the party, and the party accepts what he said. The focus is on the MPP, and the most important thing is that Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman's credibility in terms of what she brings on board is not questionable. In terms of what she could do, in terms of capability, is unquestionable. In terms of how she was selected as a running mate, it's unquestionable because it went through consultation. The rank and file of the party have endorsed. And then we all stand with her, believing that she has all it takes to give the country a better leadership, particularly at a time where the current vice president have left some reproach on the seat of vice president. We all know.
So, Mr. Gbande, what you're trying to say, essentially, is that the NDC, which some may say this statement from Mr. Ahoy was directed at, has accepted it, and therefore all discussions whatsoever on it should end.
Well, President Mahama is a very healthy person, strong in health and in spirit. He's ready to be a president of Ghana. We, on the other side, as a party, are fully in support of him, including the elders of the party. And so we don't think that comment is enough to cause any panic or any fear within the rank and file of the party. And so the most important thing is not to focus on commentaries like this, but to rather channel our energy into the bigger game, which is the election.
All right, we'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. That was Mustapha Gbande. He is a Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition NDC. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. Stay with us. So here on the Midday News on 3FM, thank you for staying. We go to the Ashanti region where the women's wing of the NDC has given the regional NPP chairman Bernard Entry-Boisiako a one-week ultimatum to retract and apologize over a disparaging comment he is said to have made against the running mate of the NDC, Professor Jane Nano Pukwajiman. Ibrahim Abubakar is monitoring events there for us. He joins us live. Ibrahim, one more, can you tell us as regards what these women are asking for?
Well, they are saying that they need a clean campaign. If you want to campaign based on what you do for Ghanaians, not necessarily attacking the personality of individuals, because they said this is a bit discouraging for women. This is a woman who has accomplished more for herself, and for you to have a regional chairman of a political party saying the running mate and the flag bearer are having amorous affair is something that is not good. So they have issued just a one-week ultimatum for the regional chairman to retract or will have to face their wrath.
Yeah, Mami Jenana, or you're a responsible woman. Now, some Mami way won't meet me, Mami wants some time. A year 2020, okay, be. Say, Mammy, name Sabay for. Na yan fine yasem. Na dienti ama ye ni abrene se. Won't to me in the party MPP no. Ya who's a mumma. Chama won't to be, Chama won't to me, Chama won't my from press and premier sa. Mene ma, and Ghana ha man na, Santa Region Ghana na. Ye more strong warning. So now what you do no MP? I'm a patchawa. You better to score quattro. Because of any dear mama.
We know our mother. She is competent, she is learned, she is well experienced, and they can't take that from her. We, the NDC, as a party, we do not want any back and forth. What we are seeking for is peaceful elections.
You heard that some women, women's of the NDC in the Ashanti region are speaking against what the chairman of the NPP in that region said. Ibrahim Abubakar is on the line, still with us. Ibrahim, can you interpret for us what the first woman said and briefly tell us what has been the general reaction to this call by the women's wing of the opposition NDC?
Well, briefly, she's saying that this is not the first time we're having Chama Wontumi launching an attack and insult on the personality of Professor Jane Nana. In 2012, he did same. In 2020, rather, he did same, and now he's repeating it. So this time around, they are not just going to sit unconcerned and allow him to disrespect women. MPP is a party that must also show that it respects women, and for that matter, they must call their chairman to order and make sure that within a week he apologizes to the running mate of the NPP, or else he will have to face their wrath, even though they didn't tell us what they will do next, but they have given him just 7 days.
I was asking briefly about the reaction from the camp of the NPP. Has there been any?
Well, for now, not yet. We have tried to get in touch with them, and they said they will comment on it later. But this is a comment that has received wide condemnation, even both from the MPP and NDC camp.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar, bringing us updates from the Ashanti region. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana has until the close of today to submit to PURC details of full compliance with the cash waterfall mechanism. It follows what is the expiration of an order by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to the power distributor to comply with the payment plan, which the regulator argues ECG has flouted since October of 2023. PRC last week issued a number of orders, including an order for the ECG to publish a load shedding timetable with their deadlines for today. Let's walk you through some of those orders again. Order 1, to comply with the cash waterfall mechanism and pay all tariff revenues as described and prescribed and allocated under the system. Order 2, load management timetable corresponding with the timelines and duration for each transformer injection time frame for compliance. ECG shall comply with Order 1 above by 25th of March, which is today. ECG shall comply with Order 2 2.2D, Order 2.3E, and Order 2.3F by close of day March 27, 2024. And DCG shall comply with all orders by close of day April 2, 2024. Well, Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh says that those calling for a load shedding timetable should release one themselves. Take a listen.
If you are comparing 4 years, MPP administration, energy sector is 300 times better than Domama.
But we are still experiencing doom so.
Nobody has said we haven't. I'm just saying it's far much better than Domama ever did.
You admit there is doom so in the country? You do admit that there's doom so?
That is the word you used. I have never used that word. I promised you that we are going to work on it. And it's not a work that is a single event. It's a process. And we'll continue to work on it for the energy sector to become better.
Have you heard of calls for a timetable?
Ask those who want to bring it.
You heard Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. Do stay with us. When we come back, we'll bring you what's happening in Senegal and other issues across the country. Don't go away.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the first Edinkra International Arts and Crafts Show in Ghana. Organized by the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, this 10-day festival will be a celebration of functional arts and crafts, home decorations, jewelry and textiles, with export forums on the sidelines. Date 26th April to 5th May 2024. Venue, Papaye Recreational Center, Eburi. Time, 10 a.m. each day. Get ready to immerse yourself in a world of creativity and culture, surrounded by the breathtaking beauty of Eburi.
To register as an exhibitor, kindly visit gepafairs.org or call +233 24 470 6112 or +233 20 955 6525. Edinkra International Arts and Crafts Show. See you there.
Freezer, get the abba. Adama for the abba. A freezer. Adama, a crafty mensia. Adama. Metimosua, my sorry. Canino, Obo Moasia. I do fresh the Nobium Unum and San last night. I tell what we did was here. Adama for the craft from what we say. Yet the Adruba Cope, a ship we be a high technology. I could for freezer. When Kwan, and once open your 15 letters. No fugum, what's ya, no fugum. What the boss here, for your being no was your view, I could say, over Timono. Then we sure say, woman shown Tassia. Then what's enough for now? Freezer, when up a day. Freezer,
Dacia, a person does so among Ammoniaji.
To me, what's it got? To me, but you may not do some doom. Adama, without Adama, no queer. Adama, you can't resist.
Benya Adama West Africa for a dream, or the baby I tongue cry on you. I feel Kayona Kenkai in Choya, a dream.
And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice. Thank you for staying. Now, the National Labour Commission has since well, let's start off from here to the Labour Front. A strike by pre-tertiary teacher unions enters its second week. The unions, comprising the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, declared a nationwide industrial action over the conditions of service issues, among others. The National Labour Commission has since declared the strike illegal and directed the teachers to call it off, as well as appear for settlement of their grievances. Castro Senyala is a man in the Upper East region. He joins us live from the Castro. It's been 6 days already. Can you tell us what's happening?
Yes, Beatrice, this call by the authorities for the strike actually to be suspended. It is not the case in most of the schools I've visited in the Upper East region, particularly in the Kassana West district where I am currently. In fact, what began as a sit-down strike and by extension records of absenteeism on the part of teachers has now become a different issue where we get the impression that schools are being closed and students or people driven home. Some of the students who still decide to come to school are either still loitering on the school compound or go back home after a few hours.
How are the teachers reacting to this?
Yes, Beatrice, at the beginning of the strike, teachers were mostly at the premises of the school to keep the children safe as directed by the GES. But today, for instance, my rounds have shown that there aren't teachers, not even headmistress at these schools, and students or people who come at their own, have to take care of their own safety as far as keeping safe and staying in school is concerned. I have been trying to engage some of the students who wouldn't want to speak, but I get the impression that I get the understanding that it is a revision week. They are supposed to be in class revising their lessons because in the coming week they'll be having their examinations. But here is the case, they are not in classroom, and for that matter, they are at the receiving end of the industrial action.
Thank you very much, Castro Senyala. He's our correspondent in the Upper East region. Daniel Opoko is our labor correspondent. He joins us live. Daniel, we understand that there was supposed to be a meeting today over the strike. What can you tell us?
Right. So the National Labour Commission last week gave a directive asking the teacher unions to call off the strike, describing the strike as illegal. And the commission has summoned them to appear before it tomorrow. Now, today was supposed to meet the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, the Ghana Education Service, and the Ministry of Education. But unfortunately, the meeting could not take place, possibly because of the Ghana Schools Smart Project, the reason all the government sector could not meet. So now the meeting will be shifted tomorrow at the National Labour Commission. So that's where we are now. If they had met today, our conclusions would have been that it will be written on a paper or documented before they present that to the National Labour Commission. But once they couldn't meet today, it means that the meeting may have to take place at the Commission by close of day tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Daniel Opoko. He's our labor correspondent. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. And in our subsequent bulletins, we'll be bringing you that story about government outdooring a policy to distribute laptops to senior high school students. We'll bring you all the details in our subsequent bulletins. But ahead of that, supporters of Senegal's presidential candidate, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, have taken to the streets of the capital, Dakar, in celebration as early result from Sunday's vote showed the opposition contender in the lead. The celebrations came as at least 5 of the 17 candidates in the race issued statements congratulating Faye on what they called his victory. But his main rival from the ruling coalition, former Prime Minister Amadou Ba, has described the celebrations as premature. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. Our top stories: fresh legal processes set in motion to compel President Akufo-Addo to sign anti-LGBTQ bill into law and restrain recently assigned ministers of state from performing their roles. Also, government outdooring a policy to distribute laptops to senior high school students. And like I told you, we'll bring you details of that in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Beatrice. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Follow us on social media. Twitter at 3FM 927. Facebook at 3FM 927. And also on 3news.com.
Get ready for an epic adventure. Join TV3 on a 2-day expedition of the Western Wonders of Ghana as part of the Ghana Month celebration happening from Friday 29th to Saturday 30th of March. This is Journey to the West. Explore the rich history of Cape Coast Castle. Walk through the lush forest of Kaku. Witness the breathtaking Insulezo Stilt Village for a journey through time. Immerse yourself in the magic of bonfires, groove to sensational music performances, and experience experience the beats with DJs on rotation. Indulge in mouth-watering dishes and refreshing drinks while creating unforgettable memories. Don't miss the chance to celebrate Ghana's beauty and culture. Join us for 2 days filled with adventure, culture, and a whole lot of fun. Journey to the West. To book a seat for this Odyssey, call 0264-932732. It's Journey to the West. Hashtag Ghana Month Celebration. Hashtag Journey to the West. Hashtag Explore Ghana.
Brought to you by Malta Guinness. Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m.
3 FM.
What is your favorite scripture?
Well, my favorite scripture is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord. Kwame, that is absolutely my favorite scripture.
Yes, your Inspirational Gospel Mix, a moment to get inspired with the best of inspirational songs and interviews to get you prepared for the new week on every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, your big brother, Kwame Adu, mixing G, mixing gospel. You can't miss it. You are blessed as you listen. 3 FM 92.7.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, Monetary Policy Committee maintains policy rate at 29% amid inflation uncertainties. We'll hear from Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison.
Overall, rates to inflation are slightly on the upside and will require close monitoring. Given these considerations, the committee decided to maintain the monetary policy rate.
Also, Finance Minister Dr. Amin Adam raises smuggling concerns at the Ghanaian ports, promising immediate action to tackle the menace.
Smuggling continues to be a model for all of us. I know you have put in efforts, and your efforts are appreciated, but smuggling is on the rise.
Plus, Treasury bills continue on a downward path of decline in line with earlier predictions by market watchers. We have details of these and more lined up for you. Stay with me. Thank you so much for your time. In our first story, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has kept interest rates unchanged to tame inflationary pressures stemming from depreciation of the cedi. The cedi has lost about 5% in value against the dollar since the committee reduced borrowing costs in the beginning of the year to 29%. Dr. Ernest Addison is governor of the central bank.
So just a slightly elevated profile. The possible upward revision in transport fares, adjustment in utility tariffs, higher export petroleum prices, and some pass-through of exchange rate depreciation. Overall, rates to inflation are slightly on the upside and will require close monitoring. Given these considerations, the committee decided to maintain the monetary policy rate at 29%. Other policy measures. The committee decided to adjust the cash reserve ratio for banks as follows. Banks with loan to deposit ratio above 55% will have to meet a currency cash reserve ratio of 15%.
You heard the voice of Dr. Ernest Addison, Governor of Bank of Ghana. Away from that, Finance Minister Dr. Amin Adam has raised concerns about the increasing levels of smuggling at the Ghanaian ports. These were his words when he visited the Tema port today.
Smuggling continues to be a model for all of us. I know you have put in efforts and your efforts are appreciated, but smuggling is on the rise, particularly on the eastern corridor of our country. All the reports of smuggling that have come to my attention, about 70% of them happen to be occurring along the eastern corridor area. But why have we not been able to stop it? I can understand that staff levels are lower, as eloquently stated by Commissioner Customs, and therefore there is need to beef up the staff. But I also can understand that there are other security agencies we can work with to complement the staffing levels in order for us to launch war on all those who are involved in smuggling, particularly on the eastern corridor and also across the borders of the country.
Meanwhile, the finance minister reviewed that plans were underway to set up a task force to address the issue head-on.
So just a slightly elevated profile with a possible upward revision in transport fares, adjustment in utility tariffs, higher export.
Apologies for the technical issues. We'll bring you details of that later. We'll now shift your attention to Treasury bills as interest rates continue on a downward trend for the 12th week running in 2024, in line with most analysts' forecasts. According to the auction results by the central bank, interest rates continue to fall, and the 91-day bill fell by 50 basis points to 25.99%. That of the 182-day bill declined to 28.49%, and similarly, the one-year bill went down to 29.09%. Meanwhile, there was an oversubscription of the bills by about 41.15%. In all, government realized about 4.7 billion cedis, but accepted about 4.75 billion. The 91-day bill was the most patronized, with about 2.5 billion cedis tendered, where 2.48 billion was accepted. For the 182-day bill, although 1.34 billion cedis was tendered, everything was accepted, and the same applied to the one-year bill, where all bids tendered were accepted. We'll move on to more stories. Director of Academic Planning at Gimpa Business School, Dr. Ebenezer Bugri Anafo, has observed widening the tax net to open more taxpayers should be preferred to granting tax amnesty. This follows NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's hinting of granting tax amnesty for individuals and businesses in 2025 to start on a clean slate should he become president. Dr. Anafo thinks this has the potential of encouraging tax evasion.
Tax amnesty allows taxpayers to voluntarily disclose and pay taxes owing in exchange for avoiding tax evasion penalties. It is a limited time opportunity for a specific group of taxpayers to pay a defined amount in exchange for forgiveness of a tax liability relating to a previous tax period. So is he suggesting that businesses are evading taxes because these are businesses that are already overburdened in terms of paying taxes? The focus here should not be to grant tax amnesty. There are a lot of people in the informal sector that are not actually paying taxes. So government focus should be to widen the tax base to include the informal sector. Formalization of the informal sector is the way to go because these businesses are already overburdened with taxes.
Well, you heard the voice of Dr. Ebenezer Bugri Anafo, Head of Academic Planning at Gimpa Business School. And that brings us to the end of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, kindly log on to our website on 3news.com. My name is Menu Afu. Do stay tuned. Black Rasta will soon join you for Urban Blend.